Hello everyone, welcome to Foundations this week. Sorry we couldn't be together in person, but hopefully we'll be able to communicate a few more thoughts with this presentation that we weren't able to get to in class last week. I wanted to just finish up a few things on careers, job skills, preparing for careers and jobs, and then we're going to talk a little bit about professional development as well, just strengthening and having methods in place for getting better. First, I wanted to share just this little bit of information for you about government jobs. If you're interested in doing work for the government, here is some places where you can find some programs. As you can see, there's some opportunities for students while they're still in school for internships and scholarships and fellowships, as well as positions after you graduate to be able to work for the government as an instructional designer. And 1750 is, I guess, the code that is most relevant to this kind of work that you can look for. And if you're interested in this kind of work, I would also point you in the direction of Rich Collada, who's I've mentioned him before. I've mentioned him a lot because I know him well. He was in my cohort. We were both master's students here at BYU. And he was an instructional designer for the CIA before went to work for the Department of Education. So he understands working for the government and could probably give you some leads and at least some direction, some advice if you're interested in that kind of a thing. So really, when you look at the kinds of career tracks, they kind of fall into these four areas. And you're a little bit like Alice in Wonderland with the Cheshire Cat. You know, where is it you want to go? And many students say they don't really know. Well, and if you don't really know, it doesn't really matter what direction you take. But if you know where it is you want to go, then it really does matter the preparation that you do as a student. And so first let's talk about where it is you may want to go. And obviously we've talked a little bit about salaries. You've read some things about what it's like in different kinds of fields and professions. You've hopefully had the chance to interview someone, and hopefully you're getting a little bit of a clearer idea about what kind of track it is you want. And there's pros and cons to each of these different areas, of course, and it's not all just financial. There are some benefits that come with different kinds of jobs that for different kinds of people may be more valuable than the finances. For example, for me, I absolutely love the flexibility that I get as a faculty member. The fact that I can be flexible and be able to go over and eat lunch with my kids some days or take them to a midday concert or I can make that kind of time, and as long as I get my work done in the evening or make it up in some other way, I'm okay. Not all jobs are of course that flexible. But there's negatives as well. Being in the faculty life, some people don't like the pressure to get tenure and to have to publish, and so it just kind of depends on what it is you want to do. And I will say that in the academic world, and maybe in the corporate world as well, I'm not as familiar with the corporate world, but in the academic world there's also tiers for both instructional designers and for faculty members. What you want to become familiar with is what they call the Carnegie classification. And so if a university is a Carnegie 1 university, that means it's a research PhD granting university. This would be like the University of Utah. It's also the way BYU functions in many ways. Although BYU would call itself an undergraduate institution, it holds its faculty to the same kind of research standards as a Carnegie 1 research institution. And then after that you have Carnegie 2, Carnegie 3, and so on. And the step below the Research 1 institution would be the master's level institution, kind of like a Utah Valley University. A step below that would be a bachelor's granting institution, and then a step below that would be community college. And even though someone at a community college level may be working very hard teaching a lot of classes, the unfortunate truth is that the salary goes up as you go up the Carnegie ladder. So the more research you're doing at the university, the more money that will be available for, I think, both the instructional design positions as well as for sure the faculty positions. So be aware of that salary discrepancy there in case you want to do that. But once again, salary isn't everything. If you don't like doing research, you may not want to go to a Research 1 institution because the research requirement is very stiff. And so the important thing is to identify which direction you're going to go and then talk to your chair about that and make sure you get a chair who can help you prepare for the kind of job you want. Because if you want to be a faculty member at a Carnegie 1 institution, you've got to start preparing right now. And I know that because that's what I'm most familiar with. But same thing with the corporate world as well. You need to start preparing now for any of these kinds of jobs so that you're prepared when you graduate. And I put this slide up before just so that you can kind of look at it again. These are some of the classes. Now that you've taken that ID competency survey, maybe you understand a little bit more your strengths and weaknesses. These would be some of the classes that you could take to fill in some of those weaknesses that you may have. And all of us have some because this is too broad of a field for us to be skilled in every area when we come in. I will make a mention that 560, of course, being very important for getting development skills, which 91% of the jobs that we were looking at said they wanted. So very important to get these two classes. Just so you know, we've made a change in the college, in the department, so that statistics class, statistics 1, is no longer required for master's students. The requirement is going to be that you take either Stats 1 or 560, and it'll depend on whether you want to go the research track or the design and development track. So know that if you're going design and development, 560 really is a requirement for you now. And you can talk to Peter about customizing that if you already have some programming skills. And he's a little bit concerned because nobody has signed up for 560 for winter, and it's not going to be offered for another, I think, year or something like that. It's going to be a long time until it's offered again because he's switching the rotation for when it's going to be taught. This is Peter Rich I'm talking about. So if you want to take 560, which you probably should, you need to sign up now for the winter class or else it's on the verge of being canceled. So make sure you go and do that. Finally, I'll just end with a little bit of the coin of the realm here. You need to understand what the coin is for the job you want to get. And very realistically and honestly, if you do well enough in your preparation as a grad student in gathering up the coin for your area that you want to get a job in, you can pretty much purchase the job you want. But the coin is going to be different for every job. So if you want to be a faculty member at a research university, the coin of the realm is going to be publications, and you should have at least probably 3 to 4 publications before you graduate, good publications. So you need to get started now. If you want to be a professor at a more teaching university, then you need to start getting teaching expertise and good online teaching experiences with high student ratings. You need to start getting that. That's going to be the coin for you to purchase your job. And for the corporate track, of course, it's going to be the portfolio pieces that you have. And so you need to really do a good job at polishing up and showing and exploiting the kinds of skills that you have in your portfolio pieces. So don't be caught, as some students do, thinking that if you get a 4.0 as a master's student, that that's going to count for something, because it's not really going to count for anything. That's not the coin to get the job that you want. The coin is going to be either research for research professors, teaching experience for teaching people, and design work for designers. And all three of those things are going to be important. But the balance of what's going to be most important is going to depend on the kind of job you want.